Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Gimpy, and I'm here with the final part of the September 1939 turn in GMT's Unconditional Surrender. In the previous turn, Germany attacked into Poland and was able to conquer Poland, so all of Poland's units were removed. Due to that, a portion of territory here, the Polish corridor, was ceded to Germany, and the Soviet faction got the east section of Poland, and Hungary became pro-Axis faction. Now, we checked to make sure they're still in supply. I did that in the previous turn. All the German units are still in supply. They're within the proper range of transport hexes and all that good stuff, so they're perfectly fine as far as supply goes. Now, we're supposed to go to the Allied and Soviet operations phases, and there's really nothing much for them to do at this point. I was going to be doing the Polish attack back because I didn't expect to conquer them on the first turn, but Poland went down pretty easily, so right now it's just the French and the British on the board for the Allies, and there's nothing they can do as far as attacks are concerned because appeasement is still in effect. That's not going to change until Germany declares war onto the French or the Allies, or goes into the Netherlands, Belgium, France, or UK territory. None of that's happening yet, so we don't have to worry about their operations phase. I was thinking about moving this one little unit down here northward to help defend for when Germany does push into France, but I realized that Italy will probably be activated at some point as an Axis faction, and they're going to need some units down here to help guard against that. So I'm going to leave that French unit where it is. The Russian units, they're fine where they're at for now. I'm not going to worry about moving them. So we're done with the operations phase. We go to the no supply phase, which none of the units are in no supply, so we don't have to worry about that. And now we go to the replacements phase. Germany is the only country that has any units that need to be supplied. So I'm going to pan over to the production board real quick so you guys can see that and how that's going to operate when we're doing supply as far as refitting units and buying units and all that good stuff. Now, the replacement phase is when you're going to take and use production points to take and remove sorties from aircraft carriers, fighter groups, flip units from their reduced side back to their full side, things of that nature. And handily on the little production chart, it has a little list of how much everything costs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for production as far as replacements are concerned. And to remove sorties from a fighter or convoy unit is 3 production points. Now you can only remove 2 sorties a turn, so you can't take and just burn through all of it. Now I would, because I've got 19 production left and I only need to save 5, so I absolutely would burn all those back, but that accounts for wear and tear and fighter pilot fatigue and things of that nature that you can't just burn them all out and then bring them all back the very next turn. So I will take and spend of my production. I have 19 left from the attacks that I made, 3 to remove it from 1, and then another 3 production, leaving me with 13 production on Germany to remove 2 sorties from each of my fighter groups. Now that leaves me one with 4 sorties on it and another that's back down to 0, so that's excellent. I won't be needing the other group, so in a couple of turns I'll be able to take and get that one pulled back as well. Now, since none of the other factions need any replacements, we go to the upgrade phase. There's no upgrades to be had at this moment because there are no units in the upgrade box. I'll pan down and show you guys that here in just a sec. We go to the mobilization phase. Actually, I'm going to just pan down and show you guys that now. All right. Right here's the box for keeping track of everything. Don't worry about my messiness here. When a unit is taken out, it's going to go into your eliminated box, and then at the end of the turn it'll get moved in your mobilization box, as well as other units that get added from the turn marker or activations, things like that. They'll be in the mobilization box. This is where you will purchase units, fresh units, each round. Down here is your upgrade boxes, and as units are brought down from the turn marker, you can take and upgrade an existing unit on the board with a better unit. For example, all these stacks of Russian units here, a good chunk of them are infantry, but where are some of those? Of course, now I can't find the mobile guys that are stacked in here. I know there's a buttload of those guys. Oh well, I'll find them later. But they do have a lot of mobile units. Actually, they're on the turn marker. What am I thinking? That will be brought down into the upgrade box and then moved over to the board from that spot. So that covers our upgrade and mobilization phase. None of the factions have anything that they can take and mobilize at this point. They will starting the next turn. So let's back ourselves back out and go back to the board, and we're going to take and do our diplomacy phase. Now this is one of the big things that I've been looking forward to on this game. You take and seed your little starting cup or bowl, whatever you're using, with your markers, and as events happen in the game, for example conquering Poland, which gave a pro-axis marker in the cup, you'll take and draw. You can pay 5 production to draw a marker from the cup and do whatever effect it has, whether it's a political success, no event, political failure. The way to think of it is if it's a success, then you get to do something for your side. If it's a failure, then the other faction gets to do something for their side. So Germany wants the Allies or the Soviets drawing political failures, so that gives them an advantage. So let's see. For Germany, I've been debating this because it's going to start with the Axis faction. I'm like, well, I could take and draw, and right now I'm thinking I go ahead and draw for a marker because I have the best chance to get a political success, because there's a bunch of them in there at this point, and I can get Hungary to switch over to the Axis faction, and then I can push for Italy later. I don't know, I'm still debating on that. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take and spend another 5. We're at 13 now, so this goes down to 0, and we're left with 8, which is fine because the rest of that production just goes away. So whatever you don't spend in a turn is gone. So I will take and draw real quick a marker for the Germans. Let's find out what it is. It is a political success, if you guys can see that. So that's outstanding. I'm going to go ahead and use that to activate the Hungarians. Give me just a sec. I'm actually going to pause the video and then zoom it back in when their units are on the board. Alright, we got it set up. I've got a single Hungarian unit here that actually got put onto the board. I went ahead and just put it here onto the capital, Budapest, and on the track itself you take and put down their national will, which Hungary starts as a 4, and their production marker will go on the track as well. Now there's a page in the back, a country list, and it's going to list down what all of them start at. So you just go right across to whatever country it is. Hungary, national will 4, factories 1, which means they're only going to have a production of 1. So each turn they can bring in 1 unit. They don't have any tanks or planes or anything like that, but it is an extra unit on the board, which is always helpful for us, or helpful for the Germans rather. So that takes care of the German diplomacy phase. That worked out rather nicely. On our next turn, we will take and try to get Italy to switch over, even though that's going to activate the Mediterranean crisis. It's going to have to happen, and I want to take and work on seeding the cup and getting it set up to draw those markers to get Italy in as quick as possible, because it could take a few turns, especially if you're drawing no events or political failures. You know, it could take a while, and I would like to take and get them activated before France comes into this. Since I'm playing solitaire, I don't have to worry about a Allied or a Soviet player getting irritated because I'm slow rolling Germany. You know, that's what I love about it, that I can take and go at it as slow as I want to, and I don't have to worry about anyone else getting butthurt about it. All right, we'll go to the Allies part of the diplomacy phase, and yeah, they'll take and spend some production to take and pull from the cup. I wonder, the Soviets might as well do the same thing. Okay, we'll start with the Allies, and it really doesn't matter which one I pull the production from. We'll take and pull it from France and have them draw from the cup and see if they can get something useful for themselves. Alright, I've got it tucked into my hand here. Shit, hold on. I dropped the damn thing. Give me a sec. Alright, I dropped the damn marker, so I'm just going to take and draw another one instead. I don't know what happened to that other one. I'll find it here in a sec. Alright, so we have got a, what is that? I'm looking into the camera. Political failure. Alright, so the way that's going to play out. Hold on, I got to find this. Alright, the first one I drew was a area seized. But we'll just throw that back in the cup and deal with that on the next one. Since I ended up drawing two, I didn't think I was going to find it. Political failure means that the other faction basically gets to treat it like a political success was drawn for them. So we'll take and put that down in our little holding box here. And I will take and put a pro-axis marker in Rome to signify that Italy is going pro-axis, and hopefully I can get them pulled around next time. Now, down here at the bottom, you can see the two markers that I pulled already are sitting there waiting. Once you pull a marker out, you don't take and put it back in the cup. You have to take and put it here until a faction takes and pays to, pull one out and put it back in the cup. Now, if there were no event markers here with it, you would take and, pay for one and put a no event marker in there with it. Oh, let's see. I'll tell you what, I'm going to have the Soviets pay to put a political success back into the cup. Like I said, normally a no event would be put back into the cup with it, but there are no event markers left at this point. So, nothing to worry about on that one. It's already full of it. And I think we're pretty well done. What else do we have left? Yep, victory check is what we got. Of course, it's not because it's start. And at the end of the turn, we're going to take and move our turn marker. So let me zoom in up here for you guys. Way up there. At the top, we're going to take and move the turn marker over one. We're going to take the units that are there and we're going to put them into the cup. These are the two units that are there. They get put into the mobilization box of the Germans, and they'll be able to be purchased on the next turn. If it actually has it marked down here that if it's a variable reinforcement that you would do the roll thing. Like I said, I'm not doing that. Oh, excuse me. Move all units and affection cards. Oh yeah, here we go. In the eliminated box there at the very end of the turn, anything that's eliminated does get moved down into your mobilization box. So now Germany actually has 3 units waiting to be purchased on the following turn, and the Russians have 1 that they gained due to a conditional event. So the Germans are going to be able to mobilize fairly quickly. Hungary has 2 units, but their production is so low it's going to take them a couple of turns. On the following turns, they're going to be pretty quick, so I might take and film them in one go instead of breaking them down into pieces, because I know there's not going to be any combat probably for the remainder of this year, the 1939 year, because I'm going to work on moving units over here to get on the border of Belgium and the Netherlands, get ready to invade France, and maybe take 1 or 2 units up and invade Denmark just to go ahead and get that taken care of, so I can push towards Norway, Sweden, get those countries taken over as well. And I think that's about it. That's the end of the turn, guys. Be on the lookout. I will have the next turn up as soon as possible. I'll tell you what, this game is, I love this game. You can tell a game is a good game when you're thinking about it when you're not playing it. And the only thing that's keeping me from being way farther along in this game than I am is the fact that I'm waiting so I can film it and put it up for you guys who are interested into it. Because otherwise I'd probably be well into 1941, 1942 at this point. I have to wait until my kids are in bed so you guys don't hear nothing but screaming, while I'm trying to film it. But excellent game. It's the most streamlined, strategic, I guess you would say, game of this nature that I have ever tried. The rules aren't too hard to understand. Yeah, just like any war game, you'll make a goof here or there, but they are so streamlined that it's easy to understand. Production points are used for everything, whether it's diplomacy, whether it's moving units, activating, attacking, whether it's replacing things. You've got to balance your economy, and hey, do I want to buy new units or build up the ones that took damage on the previous turn? How many sorties can I burn out in this turn and still be effective on the following turns? I knew that the Germans were going to be okay on their Eastern Front for a few more turns because I knew the Soviets weren't going to be activating for a little while, so I didn't care about burning out all those sorties. But I am going to care on the Western Front up against France when I go to war with them. So I'm only going to use the sorties, the air cover, on the battles that matter, significantly. If I'm pushing into Paris, or if I know this might break France's national will, then I'll use the sortie. The rest of the time I'm going to have to try to encompass them and get units isolated, things of that nature. Which I'm wondering if I can take and get a unit around, tucked in here behind them, and attack the backside of the Maginot Line. Or maybe just cut it off altogether and go through the Ardennes forest like they did and make them leave it, because I really don't want to attack them in a fortress. I would much rather come in here through Belgium, because these countries are going to activate anyway. I know I'm going to be fighting them, so I might as well come in through the easier direction. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. That's it for this video. You guys be on the lookout. I'll have the remainder up as soon as possible. And like I said in a different video, if you haven't seen it, I will be out of town for a handful of days this coming week. So there'll be a little break there in me putting up videos, but I'll get right back on it as soon as I get back. You guys take care. I'll see you in the next one.